to try to assist and make sure that that he wasn't having Opetizi wasn't having or not Opetizi on the side of Entity7, that they weren't having a bad game down there, so they had to constantly double up on that bottom lane. And even then, Yuzong, I mean, is, even from the first hurdle, still a factor in a lot of those fights.
Yes, for sure. So it worked out in their favor, all in all, at the end. But here we go. We're going into this next game here in the draft. They're going to ban out the Grok and the Boxia for the first picks here.
Yeah, so now we're heading for the second game here. The draft phase is starting with a Boxia and a Grok banning. So here you see, like, for those who are not so familiarized with the global ban, so these gray heroes here means the heroes that the team are not allowed to repeat from the rest of the best of 5 here, from the rest of this match. But now we're heading for Ivy being the second banning from Alpha7 and Fanny once again when it comes to Entity7.
I mean, looking at this draft, I feel like everybody's off banning right now. You've still got Boxia, Phoveus, Freya's out there right now, Zushin. I feel like everybody's trying to off ban, so now everybody's just gonna get OP drafts. So when we come out here right now, especially Grok, I can't even remember the last time I saw a Grok ban coming out from a team here. I would assume these last 2 bans, one of them is probably gonna belong to Zushin. And I just don't know where. Yeah, there we go. That's the Zushin one, and Freya probably the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, Go ahead.
No, go ahead. They're banning out that for sure, but it looks like they're banning out heroes that they already chosen. They don't want to go against the Eve or the Grok too, you see. So I'm like, this is kind of confusing. Maybe they've seen or played against them off tournament and stuff, and know that Entity7 can do real well with them as well. So they just wanted to make sure that's not out there for them to play with. And you're right, they went ahead and banned these 2, but the lot are still open right now, like you said, Phoveus and as well as other heroes. So this is gonna be, I mean, who knows? They chose double marksman, so I really don't know what they'll be choosing this time around.
Yeah, at least I like, even though that the 2 marksmen's situation, we can talk about, like, during the draft it came the idea to get this 2 marksmen, because as we were saying, like, and the people from the chat were saying, like, okay, when it comes to, like, when Alpha7 saw Claude, they trying to use last lane to counter Claude, so Entity7 decided to move Claude to the XP lane to avoid a last lane situation on the goal lane here. So now the first pick here for Vias, and Entity7 coming with a Marcel as the first response here, and now we're seeing the second one. Maybe I don't think that is gonna be the jungler here. Ready for a hide bush is gonna be interesting one, but I think that they're heading for the mid lane.
Chose me to vanquish the
oh no, Suyo for hide bush. Okay.
World.
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of makes sense for the Grok ban to pick up the Phoveus, because he's been one of those great peelers in the back line. You can put a wall down, Tectonic Charge, you swing away. That's a lot of CC that you can put onto the Phoveus to really stop him and thwart a lot of the damage that can come out there. You mix that up with something bursty, and Phoveus is gonna be like the first one down in a lot of these fights. I am questioning if we're gonna have the Marcel out there. Are we pairing it with something? Because I feel like Phoveus, he's one of those things just like a Zushin. There needs to be an answer, or he's gonna be able to run wild on your back line. So, and the answer, what we've seen is CC and burst potential to really take him out before a lot of these fights begin.
Loyalty in a dead body.
Yes, so let's see if they'll choose that. They went ahead and picked up Leo here as well as Harith. There's that carry on that side of it. Now Entity7 has picked that up as well. I'm surprised they did do that double marksman. That's kind of taking away a lot of the hero marksmans available to them, like later on down the line, you know. So it's very interesting. They gone ahead and banned out Hylos as well.
Yeah. So the third choice here coming out from Entity7 goes for a carry, and it was immediately a high-lows on a banning here on the first choice. I think that Entity7 is going to focus especially on this roaming situation here. Like, I believe that maybe it's gonna be Khalid the last banning here, because it will be like very hard for them to handle, like for Vias, Leomord, and Khalid the situation, for example, to get pressure on the river, to get control on the turtle, for example, and the objectives. So there is a possibility here. So Terizla, naturally, because we're seeing like most of this successful composition with Marcel, it is like with Terizla, with the penalties on when it comes to the golden hour and the rest of execution. So no Terizla for this second game. And now we're seeing what Entity7 is about to ban. Yeah, I was thinking about Khalid here, but maybe they're thinking about like something else. Show, okay, right. So avoid Paquito. Paquito is a very good player of Show.
I am kind of curious. Yeah, we took out the Terizla. If we're going that route on the side of Entity7, I think the next option would be the Guinevere. That would also be able to kind of jump in there after that golden hour. But Guinevere, and I feel like a lot of teams miss this step when she's not a great damage on her own. Maybe in like the opening minutes of the game, she's got a great amount of burst, but it takes a little bit more oomph. So you'd need to probably pair that with like some type of burst mage, a Linux, a Gord or something like that, to really be able to burst down this composition. I was thinking maybe, especially against Harith and Leomord, maybe you go with Zeshion just because of the CC. I just don't like a Zeshion against a Phoveus.
They're going ahead and picking up an Alice against the Phoveus then. So she's mobile. So I'm not even sure. It's, I don't know.
but I agree with Private when we say about a possibility to get a ZTN here, for example, especially from her buff, one of her buffs here, like nerf the magic resistance. Every time that ZTN casts a spell, for example, casts an ability, it nerfs the magic resistance from the other side. So combining this with Harith, for example, like with the magical damage, it could be very interesting for Alpha7. So, but no, okay, Farsa here and Kalia for Paquito. Ooh, a very hard one here. It's a very good choice when it comes to this pick off, when it comes to this execution, coming out like from Tsunami Slam and Phantom Steed, for example, and Farsa's bursting out here from this magic damage. So Alpha7 here, like they made an Exodia in that composition so far.
This is a great composition from Alpha7. I love the Kalea just because I feel like it really thwarts the opening for Marcel, where you want to be super offensive, super aggressive, checking bushes, getting stuns and stuff like that. Now you have the fear of the Tsunami Slam while you're trying to check those bushes, which will put you way deep in the enemy territory. With that, you also have the damage coming out from the Feathered Airstrike of the Farsa. They do go with the Zeshion on Entity7. It's gonna be very curious, especially because I feel like she's not as mobile. She does have the passive, so she can create distance from the Phoveus, but it's not just the Phoveus you're worried about. He's gonna get into that back line, and it's almost gonna be like clearing a little bit of a space for Harith to come in with that Zaman Force. Very interesting drafts coming out of both of these teams.
Yeah, especially with Akashi here, like with Alice, with this possibility to get a backline or a flank here when it comes to Farsa, while using the Feather Airstrike, for example, or trying to avoid some Upatizi follow-up damage here when this composition. So both compositions here are like very, very interesting one. Zetian from Shin. So okay, the ability here, like the Phoenix Auto ultimate here to spot the enemies, to maybe trying to stun some of them before team fight starts, for example. It's a possibility here. So everything is possible. I learned this lesson from the first game here today. Everything is possible when it comes to Entity7 here, my friend Private.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be game 2 of our first series of best of 5. Alpha7 taking on Entity7. Will Entity7 be able to eke away with another surprise victory? Well, I don't even know if you can call it surprise. I do like Alpha7's draft a little bit better here than Entity7's. But what Entity7 has shown me is just the amount of synergy and understanding of what they need to do throughout the game. They're looking for any type of mistake, even if the draft does not favor them.
My goodness. Oh my goodness, is that right? Shin had this damage at the beginning of the game? My goodness, like a magic spell here, like was like more than a half from Frost Laneve's HP. So now like Entity7 with this aggressive situation, forcing Alpha7 only to get this farm, only to get like this these resources at the beginning of the game, to trying to reach the level 4 as faster as they can. Oh, Frost, okay. Using the body form here, like trying to get this reposition, but oops.
Yeah, unfortunately, Flick, the great clear of that jungle coming out from the side of Entity7, ensures that Flick didn't have his level 4 just then to be able to come in for that engagement. You can see here now, looking to maybe start stealing a jungle of his own. Begin right there, looking to maybe, he's just feeding that energy. Ooh, he's actually gonna go in, gets a little bit of a stun up there, pushed back, but goes back to the safety of his tower.
Yeah, so I was looking for the emblem here, like, okay, for Suyu with the killing spree, okay. But Flake also choose a killing spree here with the Leomord. So maybe to cause more damage. Oh, here comes!
Ooh, back in. Just trying to be a nuisance for the side of Alpha7. He's still doing a good job being able to go in there, but I want to say you still don't have the ultimates on either side of the roam there yet. So you're not able to really punish Vagin on this Marcel just yet. Once you get that Tsunami Slam, I think that the forward crushing ability of the Marcel is going to really start costing Entity7.
Yeah, but now like you're seeing Entity7 heading for the bottom lane. I think that Alpha7 has this information, so has to take care about that. Oh.
Ooh, Hasu might be in a little bit of trouble here. Gets a little bit of a stun, but not too worse for wear. As a nice little, I want to say a nice little grouping here by Entity7, the trio coming in from the mid, jungle, and roam.
Yeah, or Sally, we saw here like first turtle heading for Alpha7, so both teams like okay, like getting the farm, are only focusing on like getting these resources and items so far. No one has to take this risk, for example, to get initiation. So it is interesting one. So no kills so far on this second game, but now seeing Paquito trying to play an aggressive. Oh!
Ooh, speaking of Tsunami Slam, out comes one followed up by the ultimate, the Fury of the Phoenix, but Vagin able to find himself and escapes. Zaman Force laid down glorious pathway by the side of Alpha7, I believe. There, Doom and Hide on Bush looking for the disengagement from their tower.
Yeah, that was a good macro here, like coming from Alpha7, almost trying to take down. I think that was Shin on the mid lane. And so the response now, oh, the mid lane here, 2v2. Okay, both teams now only Hide on Bush on the purple buff. And Alpha7 responded so very good on the top side here because Suyu, like Hide on Bush, and Doom was trying to take Upatizi down. So Private, so far the second turtle here immediately started by Alpha7. Maybe we have another team fight.
Ooh, Hesu and Akashi going at it here. Back in, still being zoned out. Big pop-up lands there. Phantom Steed is out with the damage and immediately has the Winter Crown to be able to get himself out of harm's way. Down goes Frostlane Eve. Akashi might be taken back as Flick finds himself a kill. Hide on Bush in trouble, looking for the disengage, getting slammed down with that demonic force coming out from Hesu. It's going to allow Alpha7 to pick up this second turtle.
When everything seemed to be very good for Entity7, Alpha7 responded very nicely. And you said about why it was the winter crowd. I swear, like I thought it was like the golden hour here from Bagin with Marcel, but still, it was like a good initiation coming out from Alpha7. Oh, but easy.
Yeah, might be in a little bit of trouble here. Has to use that Zaman Force to try to get himself out of harm's way. Look at the damage he was able to do to hide on Bush. He's gonna have to get out of there. Feathered airstrike. Back in trouble. Back and forth. He's looking to get away, but that is not going to protect Doom. Alpha7 on a roll here.
Alpha7 is on fire in the second game, responding so well. Entity7's initiation. Once again, like 3 players on the top side here trying to surprise Upatizi. He was like resilient to not using the I think that he didn't use the Purify so far, but still Alpha7 with the cavalry helping him. And not only that, to get one more kill and getting this advantage. Okay, goal lead, not so far for Alpha7, but still very important for them.
Yeah, 2-1 here right now. This is not a surprising situation for Entity7. We've seen them on their back foot before. They understand what needs to be done. They're gonna be careful, and you rarely see them get frustrated and make mistakes. They usually are just able to focus down on where they need to be. The tower's not too bad for either side just yet. You see the damage and the progress starting to be made through mid so far.
Yeah, and speaking about positioning here, Doom has to be very good in position. Over again.
Yeah, another Tsunami Slam comes out there. Damage coming out of Begin. Golden Hour used to freeze Paquito and Hesu. No one on the side of Entity7 in a good position to take advantage of that ultimate. So you're going to have 2 ultimates, or an ultimate down for the side of Entity7. Ooh, big pushback there from Hesu with that demonic force slamming down onto Begin. That's going to allow Alpha7 some time. Down comes a feathered airstrike, and down goes Begin. 3-1 right now for Alpha7.
Yeah, another very good kill here for Alpha7. And another turtle for Alpha7 here. All the 3 turtles from them. Oh, hide on bush. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, in trouble as Flick charges in there. The combination right now of being able to get the Tsunami Slam out again. Damage coming out. Here comes the stun. Akashi gets taken out by Upatizi. Down comes the feathered airstrike to zone out the rest of Entity7. The damage coming out, you have the Tsunami Slam coming down, and then Upatizi and Frostlane Eve on the Harith, on the Farja is just a huge amounts of damage for whoever gets caught in that Tsunami Slam.
Yeah, and not only about like the Tsunami Slam situation, but Entity7. Oh, here come again on the mid lane. Okay, again. Paquito.
Oh yeah, Paquito and is going to be able to get himself out of there. But right now, 5-1. I don't know what Entity7 can do to come back from this right now, because you've got some heroes that haven't even finished scaling yet.
Yeah, and you know what, Private? Different from the first game, for example, when Vagina was like with a very no, Vagin was with Rock, right? I confused here, but now, oh, in the bottom lane.
Oh yeah, Upatizi getting chased down. 3 members of Entity7 now able to protect the tower. So they're doing a good job when it comes to macro, rotating, protecting, not trying to get into some huge fights here just yet, but about a firm 4K gold lead for the side of Alpha7.
Yeah, I remember now. On the first game, Shin was with Valentina, which we have the ability to copy the ultimate. So with a Tectonic Charge from Rock, they had some kind of a very good initiation. But now at this time, like Vagin with Marcel, oh, here comes.
No, again, almost got caught again. He uses that Purify, so he's not going to have it for this next fight coming up. But I want to say you have an ultimate and a flicker down for the side of Paquito as well. So there is possible an opportunity for you to be able to go in here from the backside. Demonic Force being slammed down, and a pop-up. Frostlane Eve going to find the damage to take down Vagin again.
Yeah, so 1 player down here for Entity7. Oh, here come again. So Alpha7 is going to take advantage.
Yeah, big pop-up lands onto 2 members of Entity7. All the while, this Lord is being worked on by Alpha7. You can see on the backside, Flick, Paquito, Hesu manning up and standing up in the front of this. Oh, onto the backside, we do have a Throne of Ruin landing on the Flick, who's looking for an escape. Feathered Airstrike followed up by the Phantom Steed is going to be able to take down Akashi, and Flick gets a Lord here for his trouble, and down goes Hide on Bush.
Yeah, so one more team fight here in favor for Alpha7. 2 players down for Entity7 here from Entity7. The focus now is the tower number 1 here in the mid lane. When they are taking down, okay, so one more advantage for Alpha7. Different from the first game here, Private. Entity7, like, the composition is not so resistant one, like not so tanky, like with Marcel, for example, or even Heidenbush with the Suyo. So it is different from the first game here. So Entity7 has to take care much more now when it comes to Paquito's trouble here with the Tsunami Slam, for example, or Hasu with the Demonic Forest. Now Upatizin closing the Holy Crystal here, so much more magical damage in Alpha7's composition. I don't think so, but maybe the result here can be different from the first game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at people that you're waiting to get farmed up, I mean, maybe Doom, but how close exactly are you going to allow Doom? He still needs to get, I think he's still 2 items shy of being able to really start popping off of that, getting that Holy Trinity, as well as the distance that he needs from the Malefic Gun as well. So there's just no real answers on the backside of Entity7. They've been counted out before, though, so I do know that they have it in them, but I feel like they're getting, this was a well laid out trap on the side of Alpha7, especially to give out to Marcel, who likes to be aggressive, and then pit that against the Tsunami Slam that can be catching, putting you on the backside. Great zoning ability here from Alpha7, and Entity7 loses another tower.
Another tower here. Only the high ground tower is now left for Entity7. As we are checking the goal lead here, almost 8k for Alpha7. 8 kills versus only 1 for Entity7. Alright, so they have Doom here with the carry with a very strong late game, but they also have Upatizi, like Alpha7 Upatizi in a very strong late game here. But I think that the difference on this second game here, Private, is a Frost La Neve. You know, like Frost, like with Barca, is getting very interesting ultimates with a very good positioning. So all the times, like using the Feather Airstrike, not only to cause this damage, but to zoom out the players for Entity7, as they don't have like this a tanky composition. So it is a very good for Frost La Neve to impact in a positive way this second game.
And I just don't feel like we have any punishments unless we're going to have 2 people. Ooh, another Phantom Steed comes out, followed by the Golden Hour. Vagin very desperate there as well. Shin is going to be able to get an escape. Ooh, do we have another Tsunami Slam coming out? You can see the damage coming out from Akashi. Is it going to be enough? Vagin is down. The damage coming out from Frost Laning. Tsunami Slam lands on to Akashi as Shin finding a kill of his own. Frost Lane Eve eventually able to find the kill onto Akashi. That's going to be 2 down for the side of Entity7, 1 down for Alpha7. Wait, at the bottom lane, what is Hide on Bush is trying to take it home?
Oh my goodness, Hide on Bush here. Oh, taking down the high ground towers, but now he could be in trouble.
Yeah, you can see the rest of the team very close to closing the grounds on him, looking for an engagement. Upatizi had a great mind there to keep himself in that bush just in case Hide on Bush was able to get the separation.
Dude, for a second I thought that Heidelbush was supposed to escape, was supposed to survive this pick off the switch situation on the bottom lane, but now here the Lord again.
Woo! He catches them with the Golden Hour, but nobody from Entity7 is going to be able to take advantage of it, and that's going to be a defensive Golden Hour coming out from Entity7, and Alpha7 going to pick themselves up another Lord of this game.
Okay, good news here for Alpha7. They secured the Lord. Good news for Entity7. they got super minions on the bottom lane is here, like secured by Hide on Bush. But now, once again, Alpha7 has like this dominance on the map, so they are causing this pressure, using like especially this dangerous grass, so to avoid the spotting here situation coming out from Entity7. And the Lord are heading on the bottom lane here versus this super minions. This is a very interesting second game here, Private. Okay, the goalie here letting for Alpha7 once again, almost 10k, but we saw something similar on the first game here, so I'm not buying anything.
Yeah, I just feel like Entity7 is just being beat down with range right now. Having that feathered airstrike on your arsenal, and then every single time you want to try to get close, you have to deal with Kalea. Oh, speaking of which, Flick goes in, finds a kill onto Shen. Paquito is down as well. He actually gets bursted down by the side of Entity7, but that's going to be two high ground towers, bottom and the mid for Entity7. Lord coming in. Oh, onto the backside, throwing a rune. Lands onto Hesu. Is he going to be able to do enough damage? Another kill onto Upatizi. Down goes Hesu, looking to turn this around. Flick might be in a little bit of trouble here. Doom trying to, or actually Doom gets taken out. Feathered airstrike to zone out the rest of Entity7. Two left for both teams.
Dude, you cannot blink your eye here because you can miss everything, or just a simple thing here. Once again, Entity7 with like, okay, they defended the base, but they lost the two. There are two high ground towers in the process here, the mid lane and the bottom lane. But it could be very worse for Alpha7. They lost like almost three players. Two players at the first moment and one player later. So Entity7 like leading and showing that they are able to reverse that situation here. So Alpha7 has to take care here, like be very careful to trying to finish this game as faster as they can.
I want to say if Entity7 are going to win this, it's going to be at the doors of their gates here, just because the way Alpha7, they're doing such a great job of getting separation. Frost Lane Eve well into the back line, the front line headed up by Paquito and Flick. But when they get to those gates, when they get to those little entrances, for some reason they start grouping up a little bit tighter, and that allows Entity7 to kind of come in, get that Throne of Ruin, really pack on a lot of the AoE damage that they have on their side. Now, another engagement coming out there. Vagain in trouble in the midst of this feathered airstrike. Does use that golden hour. Is it going to be enough? Down goes Vagain on the backside, and looks like the Alpha7, they're starting to chase Hide on Bush. They saw him trying to be sneaky. He might have not be long for this. Looking for a disengagement here. He's going to try to find himself all the way on the other side of the map, looking for the disengagement here. Yeah, they're trying. Oh my God, look at the damage coming out there. Hide on Bush thought he was going to be able to get away, but Frost Lane Eve comes in to finish the job.
One situation here, like funny for Alpha7 once again chasing Hide on Bush. It was good here for them to secure the Lord once again. Okay, so I think that as you're like saying from like this Alpha7 situation to at some point that they are like starting to play together, like with being very a good position for Entity7 to get a initiation, for example. So when it comes to this situation here, especially from Alpha7, they have to start thinking about like the possibility for Entity7 to reverse that situation so far. Not only with Hide on Bush, like using this a macro situation to take down towers, for example, but also here to counter somehow these initiations, because as we were saying, not so hard composition, not so tanking composition from Entity7, but
yeah, they might kind of go ahead and catch them here as well. You see Immortality procced by Paquito. Still, Entity7 trying to wear down this Lord. They have to protect all the rest of the high ground. One more high ground up at the top, so they take down the Lord, and now focusing down on these minions. Entity7 in a bad way right now, cannot find the advantage.
Yeah, but for 1 second, we were seeing the flank from Alpha7, and another second, we were seeing like Pakidian losing the immortality. So the response here from Entity7, it's very huge. It's very hard so far. Doom here with this carry. Almost 20 minutes on the second game. A goal lead here, like, I think that at this point of the game, it doesn't matter because almost everyone here is in a full build, especially the carry one, especially Harriet from Upatizi, especially carry, for example. So both like are the hopes for the team, especially when it comes to this burst damage. But Frost Lanevi with a 7-1-7 with this Farsa is another problem to Entity7 face off.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this is Alpha7's game to lose right now. And like, even if you get an opening on Entity7, if somebody steps out of line, you're praying that it's Frost Lane Eve, because that is a huge problem for your team right now. Ooh, Paquito gets a little information to his team there. Great call out there by Shin, checking all the bushes, making sure that they have all the areas clear. Vagin goes in, gets a little bit of a stun, a little bit of hello there from Vagin again. But Vagin, I mean, maybe it needs to be a little bit more careful. Sitting at 1, 5, and 4 on the roam right now.
Yeah, but both teams here like trying some naughty things here on the top side. Like almost, yeah, no, only 4 players here on top side here, so Paquito has to take care about that. Upatizi as well, but Paquito is like trying to get this information. One more Lord now in the downside of the river. Alpha7 heading immediately from for that objective, and now Entity7 is just a bit far. I don't think that there's going to be time enough to for them to fight back this Lord.
Yeah, well, they need to probably make a rush for it. You see Vagin goes in, does dodge a little bit of a pop-up there from Hesu. Out comes the Fury of the Phoenix coming out from the side of Entity7. That's going to go ahead and let Alpha7 back up a bit here. They want this fight. I think they've been so successful in this fight that they can slow play this Lord, and now not going to be enough time for Entity7 to get in there right now. Out comes the Phantom Steed. Oh, nice golden hour comes out from the side of Vagin. Is that going to be enough to turn this around? Akashi with the Winter Crown uses that flicker to get himself out of harm's way. In comes Akashi. He does not connect on anybody there. Looking for the damage as Doom able to find a kill onto Upatizi. Is this the back we were looking for from Entity7? 2 down on the side of Alpha7. Upa and Hasu. Entity7 finally with a little breathing room.
Once again, when it comes to Entity7, we like can expect anything from this team. Once again, this team fight with 2 players down for Alpha7. Entity7 securing the Lord, and oh my goodness. Okay, Vagin. Okay.
Oh, he tried to go ahead and find. Oh, maybe. I don't agree with going in there. You just wasted your Purify. You could have had that for this tower engagement that's about to happen here. Now you don't have that. You have the feathered airstrike coming down here. You can see the damage coming out on the backside. Oh, a golden hour to zone out the Farza. Is that going to be enough damage? The rest of Entity7 going to look for the disengagement. Down comes the stun from Entity7 as they go ahead, lay into the mid lane. Lord at the bottom, rest of the team at mid, looking to take down this high ground tower. Zaman Force has been laid down. Vagin looking for the disengagement as Doom takes down and bursts down the tower. Out comes the feathered airstrike. Entity7 have to back up a bit. Down with the demonic force as Hesu gets taken out. Entity7 looking to close this a second game.
It's not a replay here, guys. It's once again Entity7 winning the second game in this best of 5, Zena.
Oh my god, it's happened again. Oh man, Alpha7 was doing such an amazing job at the start. They do so well and they have it together but then for some reason they just can't close it out. Like was rough. Entity7 just has, I don't know, they're just so uniform. Like they know how to strategic and just know how to make everything work in their favor towards the end. So
when it comes, and I feel like this is something I've been kind of like touching on, is these drafts are heavily in favor, I want to say, of Alpha7. It's just the execution, the play style of these. I feel like in Entity7 just understands what they need to do to such a fuller degree. They do take a lot of deaths. They understand when this becomes a 50-50 game. When it comes just to macro and micro play, I feel like Entity7 are absolutely unbeatable here in the South right now. As soon as that turned into an even game, as soon as all the items were on the side of both the teams, where this became an actual coin flip, Entity7 were able to. It was like a completely different type of team fight.
Yeah, I agree with every word you said here, Private. And plus, there's something that I checked on this last moment from Entity7, because after the Lord and Vagin was trying to do something that I didn't understand, like losing the Purify, for example. But still, like Entity7, they didn't give up. You know, like they were heading for the base and they were chasing Paquito. So from the moment that they neutralized Paquito, and you don't have the Kalia and the Tsunami Slam like dangerous situation, so you feel more comfortable to continuing this pressure, to chasing down the rest of the players, to continuing like this closing up a game 2, you know. So I think that they all had in mind what they have to do to not only to get this advantage, not only to reverse that situation, but for more, you know, like to guarantee some kind of advantage in every moment. Any chance, any like breaches that the opponent open up from Entity7, they know exactly how to punish, you know. So from the last moment on the second game, it came clearly for me like what Entity7 is able to do on every single mistake coming up from Alpha7.
Yeah, pretty sure they did an amazing job here. Just the fact that they're able to defend against them just with their backs against the corner. They tried to backdoor twice there and got shut down both times. But they still managed to take it and win it at the end. It just goes to show how much that they can come together as a team and kind of face any odds that come their way.
It's just amazing to me, especially when you saw Hide on Bush there. I mean, he did get killed twice trying to split push, but I mean, he was staying active. He was elongating these games too. Like, look at how long were they chasing Hide on Bush for? And while Entity7 really wasn't able to come back with something at this point, it was still elongating the game and taking it to. I think this is where the big factor came in, that a beautiful golden hour came out there to really stun Upatizi and Hesu there, and they were able to turn this one around back and forth. You could see here from the back end, I want to say it was Akashi from the back end doing a great job allowing Doom the time he needed to really start laying on the damage. This is, I mean, 18-8 right there is where they were able to turn this thing around. And I think you pointed it out. As soon as they made sure that Paquito was no longer a problem for them, it was all Entity7 full force ahead.
Yeah. And this player came alive when it mattered the most, of course, is Vagin. 159 KDA, 49.4 total damage, and 561 gold per minute on that Marcel, who can be such a beast out there with that golden hour.
Yes, as we could see here, like Private is smiling from ear to ear with Marcel being the MVP on this second game. A well-deserved one for Vagin, because I was talking about like, okay, Entity7's composition was not so resistant one, not so tanky, because Marcel has some kind of resistance, but not as a real tank, for example. But what he did in this game was really interesting coming out from Entity7, especially using the golden hour to disengage. I'm sorry, sometimes with from Alpha7. So we're seeing here like using the golden hour here to buy more time for Entity7 to repositioning and respawn back. So Akashi here on the back line, for example, like helping Doom to be free to cause this damage to take down